Today is the 17th of April, 2012. We are at Prestwick Chase in Saratoga Springs, New York. My name is Wayne Clarke. I'm with the New York State Military Museum and Veterans Research Center. My assistant is Max Lautenberg. And ma'am, for the record, would you please state your full name and date, place of birth, please?
My full name is Frieda Segal Thomas. I was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1922.
And did you attend school in Brooklyn?
Yes, of course.
And did you graduate from high school?
Yes.
What year did you graduate?
I have to think about it.
Well, approximately. No, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Distracted.
And you graduated from high school?
Yes, from New Utrecht High School.
All right. And how old were you when you graduated? 17 or?
17 and a few months, I guess.
Once you graduated from high school, did you go on to college at that point?
No,
or?
I didn't. I didn't go on. I thought I should go to work. But of course, work was hard to find in those days.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now, do you recall what year it was you graduated from high school? Was the war on at all?
no, because I remember going to work, and I worked at a hotel.
Actually,
I'm trying to think of
okay.
the name.
That's all right.
But I'd never forget. It was on in Manhattan on the corner of, I think it was 69th Street. And
Now, what kind of work did you do there?
I was working in an office.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you recall where you were when you heard about the attack on Pearl Harbor?
Oh yes, I was on the subway going home,
Mm-hmm.
and I can remember sitting on the, thinking about it. I guess I had heard it just before I went on the subway, and sat on the subway train, just wondering what this all meant.
Mm-hmm. Had you ever heard of Pearl Harbor before?
Of course not.
No, most
No,
people didn't.
No. I heard of Hawaii. That sounded good
Uh-huh.
to me.
Now, did your life change at that point?
That I began to hear all the information about what was going on, and then we started talking about women going into the Army.
Mm-hmm.
My friends and I started to talk about it and think about it, and several of us joined the Army at the same time.
How did your parents feel about that?
I waited till I was 21 to join, because I thought they would object, but later on my mother said they wouldn't have cared.
Now, what type of work did your father do?
He worked for a newspaper, and I don't know exactly how he did, but I know he did something to do with the distribution.
I see. Now, was your mother working outside the home?
No, she didn't. And she used to berate herself afterward that she didn't know enough to get a job.
Did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I had an older brother,
Mm-hmm.
and at one point he went into, what did they call it again? I forgot terminology. But he was in the Army.
And
in the Pacific somewhere.
okay. And what was his name?
Arthur Segal.
All right.
I don't even know whether he had a middle name.
So you decided to enlist. What made you pick the Army over the Navy, or?
The art was the fact that I could possibly go to see Paris and London.
Oh, so you wanted to go to Europe.
My way of getting around the world.
Now, when did you go in?
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually it says,
you have that there because
yes, July of 1943 you went in.
Yes, I have to think about these things.
Where did you go for your basic training?
Well, they sent us to Massachusetts, and for some reason, and I don't recall the reason,
Okay.
They sent us back down to Florida for that.
You've got here, it says Dedham,
Yes.
Mass, for basic training, also Jacksonville, Florida.
Then was it? Yeah. Then they sent us down to Jacksonville.
What was your training like down in Florida?
I wouldn't call it very serious.
Uh-huh.
Truthfully, we did a little marching, a little physical exercises.
Were you staying at one of the hotels down there?
I'd have to think about it.
Because I know a lot of the men stayed at...
We probably were. A lot of things have escaped me.
Mhm. Was that your first time away from home, basically?
I guess it was. Right.
Were there any other people with you that you had enlisted with?
Well, there was a whole group.
Mm-hmm.
For,
So you had some friends there?
Well, I didn't know these people.
Oh, I see.
They came from wherever, somewhere around New York.
And did you train, what did you, well, you said you did some marching. Did you have any kind of weapons training?
No weapons training. We did some physical exercise. I remember doing push-ups,
Mhm.
and I wonder now how I did it.
What was the food like down there?
It wasn't bad. I'm a very good eater, so it never would be a problem for me. Might be for some people.
Okay. Once you completed your basic training, where did you go next?
Oh, they sent us up to. They sent me to New York City, oddly enough. And I worked in. I think it was a telephone building somewhere in Midtown, Manhattan.
Did you wear the military uniform to work every day?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the Army.
Did,
I lived in a hotel too. That was
oh.
great.
How often did you get to go home?
Oh, home was just on the subway. It wasn't that important to me.
Mhm.
Because, say, my mother probably would have shuddered to hear that. But I was looking to get away, I
Mhm.
guess.
What was your daily routine like for you?
In the city,
Yeah.
there was no exercise or no routine, really. We got up, we got dressed, went out and moved downstairs, I guess it was, had breakfast, and went to wherever we worked.
And you did office work mostly?
Office work, yes. It was a telephone company somewhere in Midtown, and I don't remember the street. I guess I just wanted to forget it all.
Now, did you take office courses in high school, like
Yes,
typing and
yeah,
shorthand?
Yeah, that's
I see.
because I took the general subjects in high school as my program, but for working purposes, I had to learn some typing. That was really it.
Now, how long were you in New York for before they sent you overseas? And how did that come about?
Well, at one point they asked if I wanted to go, which was really the reason why I had joined the Army. I think I said that before.
Yes. So you thought it would be exciting to...
Well, I thought I'd go see the world.
And do you remember approximately when you went overseas? Was it in 44 or still part of 43? Probably 44.
I'm trying to think because they had the worst of the bombing of England was past by
Okay.
the time I got there, and I don't know.
Okay.
I have
Now,
several dates.
how did you go across to Europe?
Oh, I went on the old Queen Mary, the
Oh.
original Queen Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was nothing like she would have been a year or two before,
Uh-huh.
but it was exciting to me. And I was a good sailor.
Did you get seasick at all?
No, that's what I'm
Ah.
saying. I was so impressed with that.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you go with a single ship or were you in a convoy?
I believe we were in a convoy, but we didn't get outside much, so I really didn't remember. Don't remember any talk of it.
Mm-hmm. Were there a lot of other women aboard ship?
Of course, yes. In the cabin, it probably was meant for one or two people. There were at least 6 of us.
Mm-hmm. Were there
Uh,
men aboard the ship too?
oh, Oh, of course, I remember passing the pool, which was lined with bunks,
Mhm.
and it had men in
And do you recall how long it took you to cross the ocean? Probably with the Queen Mary, it was probably just a few
it.
days.
It was just a few days, but I
Yeah.
don't remember how many.
And whereabouts did you land, do you recall?
I wish I remembered the names of the city.
Was it in Scotland or?
Yes, and I don't remember the name of the city.
Okay.
And then we were sent down by train to London. It seemed strange to me. I wanted to land in London.
Now, were you based out of London? Is that where you worked? Okay.
Comes back to me. I was based in London,
Mm-hmm.
and I worked right out of what's the name of that square?
The only one I
Near
can.
near the American.
The only square I can think of is Piccadilly.
No, American. What was the name of it? Where the American embassy was.
Okay.
But I can't remember the name of it. Somebody could prick my memory. I didn't believe so much could be in there.
Mm-hmm. Now, were there a lot of officers and
Oh, of course.
generals around there?
Of course.
Mhm.
Very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of saluting.
What kind of quarters did you have?
Oh, we were based in homes that were taken over.
Oh.
So it was relatively relaxed.
Mm-hmm. So you were living in a home environment with a
Yes,
family?
I know where it is, but I can't tell you. But it's right in London. It was walking distance to where I worked.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the buzz bombs, too.
Yes, well, that was afterward. I think it's when I came. I think they came later.
All right.
Yes. I wish I'd kept a diary
Mm-hmm.
now, because it would be interesting to me too.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, basically, over in London, you were doing the same type of work you were doing stateside?
Yeah, well, it was, actually, I was, even the terminology is
Mhm.
forgotten.
Now, your rank was T-5?
You know, they told me that they ran out of
Like sergeants or corporal
yeah,
stripes?
they ran out of everything, that they had used up all their allotments. That was
Uh-huh.
what I got.
So,
I was glad to get something.
now a T-5, I think,
That's equivalent to, I think, corporal.
corporal, all right. And,
Oh, that's right. When I came into that office, the men were not happy
oh, really? How come?
because they thought that they'd be shipped out.
Oh,
So there was a tension there.
mm-hmm,
But after they realized they weren't going to be used, in
Mhm.
a sense.
Were there other women in the office too?
A lot of these questions are, there must have been.
Mhm.
I can remember being courted with women and
Mhm.
walking to work.
What did you do for your time off?
Well, I once went to the park. I went sightseeing in
Mhm.
London. That was important to me.
Did you get to go to the palace?
I don't think I knew enough to go.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about that. I don't recall thinking about it, but I do recall walking around the city and around the parks.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, one day, well, this was later, I don't know whether it was on the end of my routine there. I think I was being sent back and quartered in London, and I was in the park and I was sitting with a GI,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a terrible bombs, and a couple of children were frightened, and they ran down the hill, and this young man I was sitting with picked them up, two kids up, That's quite a load.
Yeah.
But his attention, I guess, caused that was a scare.
Now, was that one of the buzz bombs?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It was in the daytime, and I just nothing else was going on.
What about USO shows? Did you see any of those?
No, I didn't.
No celebrities
maybe,
or?
maybe we weren't allowed in, for all I know. But I do remember seeing the fact that Maurice Chevalier was there and a couple of other names, but that name stuck with me.
Did you operate any kind of vehicles like a Jeep or a truck or anything?
No, I didn't have to drive anyway. Just as well. Just a typewriter.
Were you overseas when the war ended in Europe? That ended in
Yes.
that ended in April of '45.
I was in Paris. As a matter of fact, I met my husband about that
Okay.
time.
All right. Well, how did you end up in Paris? Were you transferred there?
Yes, they would just ship the whole team of us.
Oh, I see. All right.
And lived in a lovely place.
Now, how long were you in Paris for?
I was there a few months.
So you were there when the war had ended?
Oh yes, definitely.
Do you recall?
I just.
Do you recall where you were when you heard about the death of President Roosevelt?
Oh, I can remember being very because we were affected seriously.
That must have been a shock to you.
Oh yes, most of us were very anxious after that. We didn't know the name Truman in the first place, as most Americans didn't at that time.
Right.
And I remember a lot of us looking at each other and wondering what's going to happen now.
And then the war in Europe ended a short time later.
Yes.
It ended in April.
Let's see.
Was it
That's
April or
right.
May?
Just
I
around
think it was in
that.
May.
I can't be positive
Yeah.
anymore of any.
Yeah, it ended in May. Was there a lot of celebration when, of course, the war was still going on in the Pacific, but
Yes, but we were unaffected anymore, so everybody celebrated.
was there any rumors floating around that you might end up going to the Pacific at all?
I don't recall that.
Okay. So there was some celebration.
It's any excuse for excitement anyway.
Now, did you get into Germany at all?
No,
No?
never did. But it was interesting. I forgot something that's important in my history anyway. My father died in January of '45,
Oh, okay.
and I was asked to be sent home. But if everything in the army went that fast, we'd never be here. And a friend of mine, and I said, let's go to the dentist to get something taken care of. And I met my husband there,
Oh.
who became my husband eventually. So that was a good moment, a good item out of this.
Now, what was your husband's name?
Arthur I. Thomas. I'm trying to remember what the I was for. Irving. Arthur Irving Thomas.
And he was a dentist or
He was a
orthodontist?
dentist. No, that was on the army, on the government that he became the orthodontist.
I see, okay.
After we got married, we went up to Tufts University.
Now, let me ask you this. Were you dating him while you were in the service?
Only at that point. Only after that point. Because that was late. I was ready to go home. I was sent to England to wait for transportation.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to ask you, I've always heard that officers and enlisted weren't supposed to...
Of course we weren't.
So you had to date them on the sly, huh?
Well, I wanted to go to a nightclub that everybody had been talking about, so I said, one night, let's go. And we were asked to leave.
Oh, because you were together.
So an officer sent a note over to our table, told us to leave.
Really? Wow.
So we did.
Now, when you were over in England and France, did you hear any rumors about the concentration camps in Germany?
I think at the end I might have heard
Mm-hmm.
some. I don't think they knew much yet.
Yeah. And
Trying to remember.
now it says you were discharged in August of 45.
Mm-hmm.
So when the war ended in Europe, you stayed on for a while?
Well, I had to
Over
wait.
there?
You know, I say they moved slowly. I had asked to go home because my father had
Yeah.
died. I thought I'd be there
Mm-hmm.
for some of the.
So they operated on the point system, so you
That's
probably
right.
didn't have enough points to go home.
Oh, probably not.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. You reminded me of something.
Now, when you did go back, did you go back by ship again?
I'm thinking. I went back. I think I went back by plane. Because,
By plane, okay.
because I remember the trip slightly. It could have been another trip.
Okay. When you got back, whereabouts were you discharged from?
And what's the camp in Jersey?
Fort Dix?
Fort Dix.
And you were, I see you were discharged in August of 45, and that's when the war with Japan had ended.
Right, right.
Do you recall where you were when you heard about the dropping of the atomic bomb? Were you still in the military or were you discharged?
I think I was home.
Okay. Probably home on leave.
Mm. Yes, yes.
Okay. So you were discharged from Fort Dix.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at that point, what did you do? Did you want to go back to work or
Well,
go to
that's
school?
what I wanted to do. Well, I thought of going to school, but then I had no money,
Hmm.
so I thought of going to work.
Now, did you use the GI Bill at all?
Not much,
Mhm.
not just for a couple of assistants, I'll put it that way.
Okay. Now there was also a program called the 5220 Club, which was an unemployment service for service people.
I don't
You'd get $20 a week for 52. weeks.
Now that you describe it, I remember it, but
Mhm.
I guess I wasn't
Okay.
aware or concerned. I don't know.
Okay. Now, was your husband still in the military when
Yes,
you were?
he was sent to Japan. He went to Manila and then to Hokkaido.
Oh, how long was he over there for?
At least another year. I think it was a little more than a year.
Okay. Now, obviously, you must have corresponded.
Of course. I wasn't going to let that go.
And when did you guys end up getting married?
1947. Was it September?
Okay. And whereabouts did you get married?
In Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And whereabouts was he from?
Brooklyn.
He was from
Well,
Brooklyn
that's
too.
what gave us something to talk
Ah,
about.
okay. And obviously you didn't know him prior to meeting him?
No, Brooklyn is very heavily populated. I
Mhm.
don't know whether you know.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So we probably never would have met.
So you got married
Mhm.
and he got out of the service
Eventually, yes.
and he went on through the GI Bill to become an orthodontist?
Well, yeah, he was a dentist at
Mhm.
that point. We got married and I think it was a year after that we went up to, it was Massachusetts that had the course that he wanted.
Okay.
Can't remember the name of the school. It
And,
was near Boston.
okay.
But I can't think of it.
And you had some children along the way?
I had 3 daughters.
All right.
I don't know whether their pictures are up there, but the children's pictures are all up there. Because I lost most of my books, as you could see.
And what are your daughters' names?
There's Marcia, Sheila, and Amy. Amy lives near here.
All right.
I chose to come here.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a very nice area, a very
It's-
nice
it's
place here.
beautiful. Well, I guess her children were the youngest, so I thought but you know,
Mhm.
they grow up damn fast.
Yes. Now,
I should have known that.
did you end up joining any veterans organizations at all?
No,
No.
no, I was never approached.
Mm-hmm. Did you keep in contact with anyone you were in the service with?
No, well, there was one woman who I had been friendly with. We had been working together, as a matter of fact, in a hotel. What was the name of the hotel? We joined about the same time, but she was sent to a different camp, so we
Oh,
lost track.
okay.
But we kept in contact.
Okay.
She went to, I believe she went to Egypt when she went overseas.
Now, do you recall the unit you were with overseas? What was its numerical designation?
No, I'd have to look through some old
Okay.
books or something.
All right. And how do you think your time in the service changed or affected your life?
Well, certainly positively.
You wouldn't have met your husband, right?
That's right. And
You got a chance to
and
travel.
Travel and met different kinds of people,
Mm-hmm.
and it broadened my view
Mm-hmm.
of life and people. I remember meeting different kinds of people, some biased people.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember rooming with a woman who I thought I'd be friends with, and she told me that I'm Jewish, so she told me that when she'd be on the subway, she thought she was being bothered by the Jews
Jeez.
on the subway, which is
Mhm.
of all places.
Mm.
So I thought we would be friends, but I couldn't be friends with her after
Mhm.
that. So there were a couple of situations like that where they're nice people, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a difference.
Now, how did you keep in contact with the family back home? Just-
We wrote letters in our
Mhm.
in fact, I just received some postcards that I sent to my sister from Paris,
Mhm.
just to keep her aware and free. I saw
Mhm.
no postage required. It was wrote free. I'm surprised that we had to write anything.
Uh-huh. Did they censor your letters at all? Cross anything out?
Oh yes, oh yes. No, they never censored it, but they had a mark in it being having been censored or
Mhm.
been overlooked.
Now, what about your parents back home? Obviously, they were probably worried and concerned that,
I don't think they were.
no.
I really don't.
How were their lives affected? Were there any shortages back home, like with the rations? And
They didn't complain.
mm-hmm.
I guess they didn't want to bother me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose they got whatever was legally theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the household was much smaller. I had one sister left home,
Mm-hmm.
so that they managed.
And your brother made it home all right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he still living? or-
No, he died.
Oh.
I think it was a year ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
But
that.
no, well, we're all gonna go.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks anyway.
Um,
I can't overlook that when people talk. They regret, but it's
yeah, part of life.
right. Exactly. We're all gonna go.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other stories or incidents that you can recall that we might touch on?
You know, I should have gone into my storage closet and looked for things.
All right.
I
Well,
have to think about it. I should have been thinking about it.
okay. Well, thank you so much for your interview.
Well, I hope it's of interest.
It definitely is.
Thank you. It was nice of you to do this.
Oh, it's our pleasure. That's what we do.
Yeah, I thought many times of going over there just to look around.
Oh, well, you should go. Yes, I think you'd really enjoy it because we have a World War II gallery over there.
I have a uniform. Somebody's supposed to contact me about taking my husband's uniform.
Okay.
They took our uniforms. I
Okay.
can't believe it. I don't know what they could have done with them, but the women's uniforms were taken.
The government took them?
Yeah,
Really? Okay.
funny.
Well, thank you again.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I enjoyed it too because it made me think.
Go ahead.
So, how did you end up in Saratoga?
Well, the reason why I ended up in Saratoga is I have a daughter who lives in, what's the name of that town? All of a sudden things go out of my head. It's a little town here.
Around here?
Yeah.
Is it Ballston Lake or Ballston Spa?
Yes. And when after my husband died, I stayed in the place for a while, but I realized it was silly. And then I had to choose a place. And our children were the youngest, so I thought maybe I'd enjoy them most. So
Now, what part of Florida were you living in?
It's north of Boca Raton. I can't think of the
Okay.
name of the town off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with Florida myself.
They're like very little towns,
Mhm.
and they're almost all in one, but
Mhm.
they take different names.
Now, were you living there year round or,
No.
okay,
Um,
part of the year up here?
Yeah, well, we had an apartment in Brooklyn, actually.
Ah,
But I guess after my husband died, I didn't want to go down there either
Yeah.
because, well, situations
Sure.
change. It's hard to describe,
sure.
really.
Any other questions, Max?
No, I don't have any.
I'm not sorry I'm here,
Uh-huh.
but sometimes I think, gee, I should have gone to my daughter who's near Boston. That's an active town, with lots going on. But
You can always go and visit.
well, that's it. And the kid, her daughters say, "Come and stay with us."
Mhm.
They drove up one day and they tried to talk me into it, but they were so sweet about it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you again.
Oh, thank you too.
Okay, now you have a unit picture taken during World War II, of your unit. And what unit is that?
I can't read it upside down.
Oh,
Down below on the bottom.
okay, let me see if I can focus in on that.
See how quickly I forgot it. I read it off to you earlier.
5th Company, let's see, 5th Company Regiment, 5th Company I Regiment,
Let me
WACs.
see.
Okay, now, can you pick yourself out?
Yes, I did before. I guess I knew who I sat next to. It's over here on the left.
Okay.
See where my finger is?
Yep, let me see if I can zoom in on that. I'm having a problem with it. Now, let me see if I can focus in on it now. Okay, that's you right
That's me,
there with the smiling face?
right.
Okay. All right. Got it?
Okay,
Yep.
you want the rest?
Well, I think I can pan in on the rest of it here. Problem is that this thing goes out of focus.
Oh, it's nice to see their names.
I got it to focus now. All right. Let me just do a pan of the whole photo. I think that's you again right there. Okay. Oh, we're losing focus. Oh, it's not going to let me do it. I think I got most of it though.
I wonder where all these people are, if they are.
Jeez, this is, I'm losing this now.
And my hands are not so steady.
Oops, there we go. Yeah, I think we've got too much background light. All right, I think I pretty much got the entire photo, so. All right, I think we're good.
Oh,
Okay, thanks again.